like one of the all-time classic movies too.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know this, right? If on the lion growls 3 times, right? It's an MGM movie. If you start on the 3rd lion growl, you hit play on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. The album supposedly syncs up with the movie. Have you ever heard of this?
No, but how stoned were you when you heard that one?
Welcome to Krush House. I'm your host, Wayne Allyn, the CEO of VegasWinners.com, and the man the media calls the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. I'm the only sports handicapper in the world with a 180-pound granite star on the Vegas Walk of Stars. My company, Vegas Winners, sponsors the Krush House series, which includes this podcast, Krush House, as well as Krush House Cappers and Krush House Legends, where today we have Warren Moon. Whether you love sports, sports legends, or sports gambling, we've got the podcast for you. I want to remind you to go to VegasWinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world-famous Games of the Year. Just register. It's simple. It's easy. It takes 1 minute, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my Game of the Year. And you also get 5,000 reward points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system. It's all at VegasWinners.com. Later in the show, I'll be back with my Football Insider segment with former NFL quarterback and Canadian football champion Sean Salisbury to bring you insights of the NFL and valuable point spread advice for all the sports gamblers out there. But right now, I'll throw it to my main men, Frank and Sean. See you in a few minutes.
Hello and welcome to Krush House. It's October, which is full of things scary. Like how frighteningly hot Wayne Allyn Root is at picking NFL winners, how spooky Sean Salisbury is at hammering winners in college football, and how devilishly handsome I am. All right, let's crush it. All right, Sean, good to see you, buddy.
You too, bud. And handsome, and that is for damn sure. But yeah. I don't know if it's the jerseys or you, but handsome it is.
Exactly. All right, well, let's talk about a guy who looked very handsome on television, leading his team to a victory. Look, I'm super impressed with Joe Burrow. I mean, really didn't know much about him until his senior year at LSU. Comes out as a number 1 pick. This guy, I mean, over 300 yards, and on that final drive, 5 for 5, 68 passing yards on a 10-play, 73-yard drive. Is he the best quarterback in the AFC North? I don't know. He looked amazing.
And I think that we got to get a little more body of work with the injury.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield exactly. Probably. We got a rainy. Here's the crazy thing about it, Frank, is your question is something that people have to ask. The worst quarterback is the guy, I hate to say it, is Pittsburgh, and this is a Hall of Famer. Think about it.
I know.
Baker Mayfield's got a chance to get his team deep in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's an MVP in this league, and we know how valuable he is. And now here's Joe Burrow coming off an injury and got Cincinnati at, 3-1, 4 games into the season. Here's what I love about this. I don't know how you put a finger on it. I can tell you this, though. In 5 years, when we're mentioning, we say, okay, who's your top 5, 6 quarterbacks in the league? He's going to be one of them in Cincinnati. And if they will do something smart and don't go on the cheap and bullshit and hide that scouting staff and make sure they spend money, Joe Burrow can get this team back to the Boomer Esiason and Sam Weiss days when they were that they were that type of team. So I guess you can make the argument that he could be the best quarterback in the AFC North. I think Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson fans might want to be might have an argument, but he's on the ascent. There's no question about it. And I honestly believe that he has got what I don't know what that it factor is, Frank. We ask that all the time. I don't know when people say, can you put a finger on it? I can go through all the stuff that great quarterbacks have, but there are certain things that I just don't know what it is. Some guys have guts under pressure. Some guys are mentally tougher than others. Some of us mere mortals can't fathom what they do in pressure. And I asked Elway this years ago. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you. About John Elway. I asked him, I said, what is it that late in games, when you're not playing well, when you don't know what's going to happen, then all of a sudden it just kicks in with a couple of minutes to go and you make things happen. How is it? And you know when he looked at me, I was waiting for a scientific answer and some deep answer. He said, Sean, we were having a beer at his golf tournament. He said, well, I did it once and guys believed, and guys said, okay. I did it a second time and then they started to believe, and by the third time they expected it. And so it just kind of came by doing it. And so I don't know what that it factor is because I didn't have it in the National Football League, but I damn well tell you Joe Burrow has what John Elway's talking about. He just does it.
Yeah. Wow, and were you playing golf with Elway, or was he just there?
No, it was his golf tournament, and it's like a 3-day weekend thing. It was a party dressed up as a golf tournament to raise a lot of money. And now think about these names, just to cut a few. Elway, Favre, and Jim McMahon, and then the rest. So I don't need to go any farther with how much fun you think we had and raise a lot of money for charity. So,
Hey,
John, just phenomenal.
Who was the longest driver of that foursome you just met?
That group had come down to either Elway or McMahon as far as the longest driver. And Jim plays barefooted, is well documented. Elway is a great, great golfer. Both of those guys are. I'm sure Favre's pretty good. I would probably be the guy that you'd say, like the right fielder in Little League Baseball, that you say put him in right field behind him. I mean, I can hold my own, but those three guys are all better than me. And I know I've seen John play, but I've also played with McMahon a handful of times, and yeah, they're far better than I am. And they can party better than I can too, brother.
Who was the right fielder? Was it Lupus that played for the Bad News Bears out in right field?
Right, yes.
Jimmy
Chasing
Lupus.
Butterflies and rocks, yeah, that was my shit, right, on a golf course. But I'll tell you what, we didn't get cheated out of our fun, I'll promise you that.
I have no doubt. Now, about last night's game also, so Urban Meyer, who, by the way, I just saw this thing about Lawrence. He was 89-4 in high school and college, and now he's 0-4 as a pro. So he's lost as many games as a pro in his first 4 games as he did in high school and college. So, I mean, it's a whole new thing for him. And Urban Meyer looked like he just lost the Super Bowl at the press conference last night, and he said the loss was devastating. I mean, is it devastating? You're 7.5-point underdogs. I mean, is that going overboard by Urban Meyer?
No, it isn't, because think about how Urban's done this over his career.
Yeah.
He goes all in, burns out, goes all in, burns out. Now, I don't think he's burned out now, but I'll tell you what will burn you out. And I think that Jacksonville did the right thing this offseason hiring him. You got to try it.
Yeah.
He's the best free agent available, one of the great friggin' coaches of all time in college football. Let me even double that stat you mentioned about Lawrence, which is fascinating, right? And why it is devastating to lose. And I went into this season, when we went down all of our breakdowns on stuff I do and writing down notes, I said, the one thing for me to keep an eye on is how Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer deal with losing.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to winning. And I asked Dick Vermeil this about 5 years ago, the great Super Bowl coach. I asked him about winning and losing. I said, what are your regrets as a coach? And he told me straight to my face, he said, that I suffered, he goes, that I didn't enjoy the winning more. He goes, I suffered far more with the losses than I did enjoy the wins. And he said he'd do that different. Well, you can see Urban and these great ones, they're so used to it. And think about this, Frank. Urban Meyer lost 9 games at Ohio State. He's lost, I think, between Bowling Green, I'm pretty sure I looked this up earlier this week.
Yeah.
Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, and Ohio State combined in 4 years, I think he lost 32 games. Now, it's right around it's in that 30 range. Now, you think about this. He is now about almost one more loss, and he's halfway to his entire Ohio State career.
Yeah.
So losing it, and for him it is devastating. That's going to force him out quicker than anything.
Yeah.
Not that he can't coach, is that he can't handle the losing and what goes into it in an NFL season, because he's not used to it.
I mean, yeah, I just watching that press conference, you would have thought he just lost, an overtime Super Bowl game. He's like, our players are devastated. I know we got great players in there. And he just looked like a defeated guy. And it's like, you're 0-4, buddy. I mean, look, yeah, what you just said is all true.
Think about all the money he makes, and when he was sitting on the set at Fox for college football, you knew you were getting into. You know it's a tough league and wins are hard to come by. And Urban saying, shit, they aren't this hard to come by. And Troy Aikman even mentioned on the broadcast last night, like going into it, he goes, Trevor seems energetic and is getting over it and keep moving forward. He goes, I'm not sure Urban's handling it the same way Trevor Lawrence is. So, yeah, they're not fun, man. Being on a losing team would suck like that. But you got to fight through it, because Lawrence actually looked pretty good last night.
Yeah.
He's going to be a special player.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously it's only 4 games, but what have they lost now? I think it's 19 in a row, and Tampa Bay was 26 in a row. So I don't know if that record's in jeopardy or not, but that is now a thing that's going to just be mentioned every week, the all-time record
no doubt
with John McCain, Tampa Bay. So I don't know. Now, speaking of other coaches on the hot seat, I know I get some people who watch the show and they're big Bears fans, and they just want Matt Nagy gone. I mean, I don't know what Chicago does with Matt Nagy. What's your take on this? I mean, oof.
When I listen to Matt Nagy, I feel like I'm saying, and I don't need to say pardon my shit, I think, where the fuck are you going with this? That honestly, it's baffling. And listen, here's a guy. You think Andy Reid covers a little bit of woes, and when he was the coordinator for Andy Reid's the architect of this. And then he goes on his own, and it's a little bit tougher to be a head coach. Now listen, I know how hard that job is, so I respect him. But I also know they're not above criticism. When he constantly, it's like Where's Waldo with their offense. I don't know what they're doing, and I can't find it. So he throws him in, and for people that don't understand football, when we say 5-man protections, it's the 2 guards, the 2 tackles, and the center. But your 5 men that are trying to protect couldn't block me, Frank, and our boss Howard. Okay, so there's that. Maybe even Danielle, Hedda, and Claire are in there too. They may not be able to block any of us, right? We dominate that front center, right? And we'll throw in a producer, Big Al, all of them. And we got this thing licked in Chicago. But you throw a guy in there, you're not moving the pocket. I call it changing his launch point. You're sitting back there, and Myles Garrett's like, you're really going to block me with a 7th grader while I'm kicking your ass and you're not doing anything to combat it and get it moving around and doing something? I thought it was as bad a game plan and execution. You'll never see anything worse than that. He threw for a yard. You will never see an NFL player. Justin Fields, for as long as he lives, could close his eyes. He will never have a game like that or an offense system like that. Yeah. Matt Nagy's got to be smarter than this. The staff's got to be smarter. I felt like I've seen better game plans, honest to God, in a 4th grade Pop Warner field on a Saturday morning. They've got to get better. It was embarrassing.
And you know what's amazing is, with the Sunday Ticket, you can watch condensed versions of games in 30 minutes. So I put that game on because Myles Garrett had 4.5 sacks. I want to see how dominating this performance. Watching just in 30 minutes, it's even worse for the Bears fans because you're just seeing the ineptitude, just like bam, 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 and just.
It looked, Frankie, like they didn't put a game plan in all week. Like they just said, take the week off, show up on Sunday, and we'll just give you something to go with. And it was. I've never seen anything like it. It was as pitiful as I've ever seen. They'll never be that bad again. Well, can't be.
I was looking at their assistant coach staff. I got it pulled up right now. If they got rid of him, Bill Lazor is the offensive coordinator. Sean,
he's a good coach in this league, yes.
Yeah, I don't even, it's not like they have a lot of experience. I don't know. I don't know these guys. They're not name coordinators that might have, traveled around the NFL, but I don't know what they do in Chicago. Maybe Mitch Trubisky wasn't as bad as everyone thought. I don't.
Here's the problem, Frank. You said you don't know what they do in Chicago. Guess what? Neither do they.
They don't either.
That's the problem.
Can't they call Lovie Smith?
They got a great fan base too. Now Lovie's bald. We got him here as our defensive coordinator in Houston, so they can't have Lovie Smith right now. So, but you gotta put it this way: a good offensive coach bounces back from that and studies it and moves on. But you're not going to see anything worse than that at any level, at any time in watching football in your career, in your life.
And the Bears this week, they have the Lions at home, and they're actually favored at 3 because they're playing the Lions. Which, the Lions at least, they were in there. I'm surprised at that line.
They're competing. Yeah, they're competing. I am too. After watching the game plan, the Lions should be favored by 38, but that's not going to happen. So maybe the Bears bounce back. Vegas seems to know something, so we'll see. But it's a bad. Matter of fact, what's that song? Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh yeah, is that how it goes? Right?
Oh my.
We got the Lions and the Tigers. Oh my, that's right. We got the Lions and the Bears. But right now, I'm not quite sure if the Bears could beat that. I don't. What was that? What was that? Wizard of Oz. There you go. That's exactly right. The Wizard of Oz. That's about what they're looking for. The Wizard with their game plan. They suck.
Only Sean Salisbury will quote a song from 1939, ladies and gentlemen. That's when Wizard of Oz came out.
Hey, Warren, David Baker, the Hall of Fame thing is, first of all, first African-American quarterback in the Hall of Fame. And I know that had to, especially how you had to get there when you came out of the University of Washington. Yeah. We could write a book on that, number one. But number two is when David Baker, we got this now, everybody knocking on the doors at hotels and letting them know the anxiety. You knew you were going to be a Hall of Famer, you don't know if you're going to be a Hall of Famer. Right. So I'm curious, your story's a little different because David Baker wasn't knocking on doors, and I find it fascinating. Share with the audience.
Yeah, David Baker started this knock on the door probably about 5 or 6 years ago, but I've been in the Hall of Fame now 15 years, so they didn't do it that way back then. It was basically somebody from the Hall of Fame was going to get in touch with you. Well, I remember the day of the selection process. I had done a football camp for young kids, just trying to do anything I could to keep my mind off of off of the selection process and what was going on that day. So I got a call from my beat writer John McClain, who was the one that did my presentation in the Hall of Fame voting room, and he told me that it was down to the last 8 guys, and he thought I was going to probably get inducted, and I should head downtown to the press conference where they were going to have the selection process done at the hotel. And I was in Detroit at that time, which is where they had the selection that year, because the Super Bowl was there and the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl against Pittsburgh. So I was in town for the preparing for the game. So I'm going back and forth with my wife whether I should go downtown or not, because the last thing I want to do is go down there and be in that room and I don't get selected. I'm embarrassed, and I really would be. And Michael Irvin, that happened to him. He actually went down to where the selection was going on and didn't get picked that year. So he was like standing there with his tail between his legs, and I felt bad for the guy. But so she finally convinced me to go down there, and we were heading down in the car on the freeway, and I'm driving, and it's kind of sleeting and snowing outside, and I get a call on the phone, and it's from the NFL office, and it's a lady that had told me she was going to give me some tickets for a tailgate party for some friends of mine that were in town for the game. And I'm like, I thought that was the call, and I'm like, damn it. Okay, but thank you very much. And she's like, oh, by the way, congratulations on being selected in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's going across the ticker tape on the bottom of the screen on television that you were one of the selected ones. I'm like, well, nobody's told me anything, so I don't think I'm in until somebody tells me. Next thing you know, I get off the phone with her. Boom, the next call is the Pro Football Hall of Fame telling me that I got selected. And man, oh man.
Did you pull over? Did you stop? What were your thoughts? You talked to your wife while you're driving. Did you have to contain yourself?
It was one of the most emotional moments of my life. And Sean, you know me, I'm not a real emotional guy. I try and keep all my feelings in check. I started crying like a baby. I almost lost control of the car. My wife had to take control of it. We pulled over to the side of the road on the freeway, and I just bawled, man. I was everything that I had gone through from the time I started playing this game at quarterback, where people told me no, people told me I couldn't, people told me, no, it's not going to happen for you, all came pouring out of me. A lot of stuff, I started thinking about other black quarterbacks who had not been given an opportunity. The Marlon Briscoes, the James Harrises, all that came out of me, that all these guys are part of this, because they're the ones that kind of help motivate me and keep me motivated to keep wanting to play this position. So it was a very emotional moment for me, but a very exhilarating moment as well.
Well deserved.
Congratulations. Just a wonderful thing
Great
to
story.
talk about. Listen,
Yeah.
America's got plenty of problems, but what's that famous saying? America's the worst country in the world except for all the rest. In the end, we always seem to do the right thing after exhausting all other possibilities. And congratulations on getting into the first black quarterback. Great stuff.
Yeah, and Warren getting in the Hall of Fame is one of the great things of Hall of Fame. He deserved it, and I'll never forget when he shared it with me. It was just well deserved, and he's paved the way for other African American quarterbacks just like they did for him. And now it's to the point where a quarterback's a quarterback, right, Warren? We don't even discuss it anymore, which is the way it's supposed to be.
And I love that. I remember one day I was in New York playing the Jets, and we had a pretty big win against them. I had a really good game, and one of the media guys asked me after the game. He's like, "So Warren, when did you stop being a black quarterback?" I'm like, I looked at my skin and I went, "I think I still am." And I know what you're asking me. When did you stop being referred to as a black quarterback? And that's something that I always wanted. I just wanted to be a quarterback like everybody else, and not have to be, some other title put on my name before I'm a quarterback. I think we're at that day now where you see all these guys in the league. I think we had 10 or 11 African Americans start on day one this year, and I think it's not a thing anymore. I think people understand that no matter what color you are, or no matter what race you are, if you can play, you're going to get a chance to play, and that's all that really matters. And it's all about opportunity.
Let me change gears a little bit here and talk about this year, the 2021 season, Warren. I just want to end with your thoughts on maybe a team or two to watch that's caught your eye that you think may be the go-to Super Bowl team, other than, of course, Tampa Bay. Who might be the sneaky favorites to get in there this year that you think you really like?
Sneaky favorites, huh? I'm kind of looking at the Carolina Panthers. I really like the way they're playing right now.
You like Sam Darnold?
If they can get Christian McCaffrey back, he's injured again, and he's a guy that they depend on so much, especially for Sam Darnold, who's off to a great start. They have the number one defense in the league right now. They're only giving up, I think, 2.5 yards running the football. So big test against the Dallas Cowboys this week coming up. But I think they're a team, if they could catch some momentum, that division isn't as tough as it used to be in the past. New Orleans is not as good as they have been, but they're still going to be right there. You go out to the NFC West, you can kind of flip a coin. You can flip a coin in the NFC West. Any of those teams have a chance. The Cardinals, if Kyler Murray continues to play well and doesn't turn the football over, they have a really good defense and a lot of skilled players on that offensive side, and they're off to a good start. So you just never know if they can catch momentum. Momentum can take them a little ways. The Dallas Cowboys are kind of a mystery because they're off to a good start, but they haven't really played anybody. The only team they really played that was good was Tampa, and they lost that football game. So we'll have to see. That'll be a good test for them this week against Carolina, how good they are and how good Carolina is, because the Cowboys are going to try and run the football at them, and that's one of their strengths. And then we'll see how Sam Darnold does without Christian McCaffrey, who's going to probably be out for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Last week, you took Seattle and Russell Wilson on the road in Minnesota. Might be your first loss of the year in the pros, I think. All right. And they were up early, but, Minnesota was 0-2, right? Their backs are to the wall. They came back and won. Is this the year Kirk Cousins quiets the critics? I mean, I know you always say he puts up video game numbers, but what do you think's going on up there?
You know what? It's about as impressed as I've been with him and their offensive staff in 7 years, maybe, honestly. And they didn't have Dalvin Cook. And as I said on here, I thought it was a lock of the week. The week before, Seattle got their ass kicked, and it looked like it's typical Minnesota. Can't close out games. Cousins. I'll tell you, 3 games he hasn't thrown the ball to the other team. They've been in every game. Now, I don't do moral victories, but they beat Seattle down. Seattle, I don't think, crossed midfield in the second half offensively. If they did, it wasn't many times. 87 yards. So it wasn't just Cousins. It was the offense. But they've got weapons on offense. So one thing I do know that Kirk Cousins, and a little inside information that Cousins and Zimmer are doing for the first time. Because Cousins supposedly has been a guy that's not really engaging with the guy. He's just kind of a distant guy. But he feels better with the leadership and the guys because they're coming a little closer together. And Mike, even with all the controversy about the vaccine with him, that he and Mike Zimmer meet and watch game tape together. And that's not commonplace with a head coach, and Belichick and Brady did that, but they're doing that now. So they're bridging that gap of maybe it's me versus you or offense versus defense. So I'm really impressed with the way they played. I never would have thought it, man. I thought after that beatdown and with Russ Wilson, who wins on the road, but Kirk Cousins, 3 games in, if you're asking me if it looks changed to me that the guy's different, yes. But I got to see him do this in December and January. But I like the start. Even though they've won, they got to get to January 1st. But I'm impressed with his start, and I've been critical of him as well.
Yeah, and you just mentioned 2 buzzwords that's been going around, obviously, Belichick and Brady, and the way this whole exit was handled and everything. I don't see a problem. Like, Brady has abandoned your team, and maybe they should have met face-to-face, but also it was wasn't this during the pandemic when he left also? So maybe Belichick. I don't know. I mean, it feels like the way Brady said, look, everybody said goodbye on the right terms, and it's not just another game this week. Brady can lie all he wants through that raspy voice, but I mean, is Belichick supposed to embrace him and wish him luck? That's not his style, right?
No, and they don't. They weren't. It wasn't like it was a social relationship with those two. It was business, and that's why Belichick is so good at this. His feelings aren't in the game. He doesn't give a shit about, the Lifetime Achievement Award. Like I'm supposed to play a guy or give him extra money because he's been here for 12 years but wants to leave. I'm not even just talking about Brady. You want to go down the list from Ty Law and Lawyer Malloy and Richard Seymour, Mike Graham. When he thinks it's time, it's time. And Brady was a free agent, wanted out and got out. Hey, listen, it worked perfect for both. Of course it matters to both, and of course they're going into the week. But you know what? See, that's to fulfill the fans. The fans want to hear that they either hate each other or that they love each other, and it's an embrace. They both want to beat each other's fucking brains in this week is what they want to do, and I don't blame them. That's what makes them so special. So, yeah, no, I don't, and it did handle it. They knew it was coming down the pipe. Tom had signed, back-to-back, 1-year contracts. It's not like it was a secret. Now, it's harsh. We can't imagine Montana and Brady or Michael Jordan playing for somebody else. Guess what? It happens more now than ever with free agency and money, and it happened there. Blasphemous as it may be, Brady does what he always does, kept scoring, won a Super Bowl. So don't think for 1 second they're both not trade. It's not just a game. Okay. I assure you of that.
All right, now Tampa Bay's favored by 7, and I don't know. I mean, Brady, he's going to stay in the whole game. He's going to want to run up the score, right? Is he going to want to do that?
I don't see how this game, because we always talk about Tampa's offense.
Yeah.
You think Brady knows what Belichick's thinking? I guarantee he knows.
Of course he does.
You think Belichick knows Brady? Right. And then you ask, who's got better players? Well, Tampa Bay's got better players, and it's a rookie quarterback. So don't think Tampa's offense isn't going to cut it loose on that or Tampa's defense on the Patriots' offense against a rookie quarterback. Brady's not letting a rookie quarterback beat him in Foxborough, where he used to reside. He'll take it personal. I don't actually think this game's close this week.
Yeah,
I don't.
17 low.
Maybe Vegas knows some, but I'll be shocked if it stays at that number before Sunday. But listen, if they pull off a miracle and Belichick would like it, I don't see how for 1 second that he doesn't stay in the whole game. This seems like a 17-point. This seems like a 31-10 type game to me. It does. 31-13. I can't see it.
And I wonder what I'm going to foresee something. Brady, after a series on the field, runs to the wrong sideline out of habit. I don't know. I'm just.
Can they hug?
Now you said 17 point, 31 point. I like the big numbers. I'm an idiot. 17 points for the Texans. Yeah, the Texans.
Versus Buffalo.
So I mean, I know it's 17 points, but why do I think the Texans have no shot in this game against the Bills? I don't know.
Because you're smart.
Yeah, right.
And you know it.
You always laugh at me when I bet these huge spreads, but that one.
No, but sometimes the highest spread of the week, it tells me that this could get ugly. Now, where it goes, I don't know. Like with the Alabama Ole Miss game that's gone down a little bit, I just don't see if Buffalo, which is starting to hit the full speed, I don't see how weapons-wise that the Texans even keep up. They got a rookie quarterback too. Buffalo's going to be loud. That if I was taking a big number this week, I wouldn't have a problem taking that one. I wouldn't, Frank. So I'm on your style on this. I think Buffalo beats them by. This is this may be even bigger than the Tampa Bay Patriots game.
That would be an interesting bet. Which game goes bigger? All right, so listen, we only have a few minutes left here. What do you think? What are some of your locks? Listen, college football. We just got to tell everybody last week. We better get. Sean and I were texting. We had the Georgia State Auburn over, right? Which happened only on a pick 6 at the end and the extra point. We win by a half, and then University of Texas San Antonio comes back and beats Memphis. After being down, 21-0 in the first quarter. So we got lucky in college last week.
Well, my lock of the week last week, Froze was one. It was the over in that Texas Tech game, right? Remember the over, and they scored it. That's why I had that one too. In college football, I'm talking about. This week, and that was normally I'm on the wrong end of that when it's one of those like miracle,
absolutely.
Like the Auburn Georgia State game. But for me, there's a lot of college games I like, Frank. I think the Texas TCU game's going over again. I do. I can't even fathom. Keep an eye on the game on Friday night. A special. Maryland is +3. And they're playing against Iowa. Tua's brother may be better than Tua when it comes to physical skills.
All right.
I'm telling you what, I'm big on the dog in this one. Maryland.
Okay.
On this one. And then we go to Saturday. I'm looking hard at this Ole Miss thing. They're going to play fast, and Saban friggin' hates it. That line's got down. If it goes back up, I'm leaning Ole Miss. But my biggest lock are 2 NFL games on Sunday. You already heard one. I don't see, and I got 2 more. One against your Steelers. I don't see how the Aaron Rodgers doesn't destroy them this week, depending on the TJ Watt health. But the biggest one for me, do we really think that Kansas City is going to go to Philadelphia and lose and be 1-3.
Yeah, no way.
There is no friggin' way.
No.
So I think Pennsylvania is going to have a tough time with Rodgers and Mahomes this week. Those are, and I don't like to take the favorite all the time in the NFL, but with Brady in his place, Rodgers and Mahomes, the big three quarterbacks went out this week, and they're going to cover in all three of them is mine. And I'm also going to parlay those three for fun after betting them individually. There you go.
I love it. All right. We got to go. Last thing, Super Bowl halftime show, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar in L.A. I mean, I think they nailed it as far as getting the right people for an LA halftime show. It's going to be crazy.
There's absolutely no question about it. And if you like the dance at halftime, man, you better have don't drink too much because you might fall over popping up and doing that. So I think they did a great job. And I'll tell you what, we'll be entertained. I can promise you that. It's not Barry Manilow singing Mandy at halftime. So
it's not up with people who were the first Super Bowl.
That's right.
All right, Sean, we got some locks from Sean. He's been on fire. We love when you guys watch the show. Please let everybody know about Krush House. Go to VegasWinners.com and get free winners from the king of Vegas handicappers, Wayne Allyn Root. I'm Frank Nicotero. That's Sean Salisbury. All right, here we go.
Bring it, Frankie.
Here we go. I'm going to nail this right here, right at the lens. Bam. Shit. All right, well.
Wide right. You've heard that before.
It's got Norwood in it over here. Oh, that was a pretty good one. All right.
I'll give it to you.
I'm Wayne Allyn Root. Thanks for tuning into the Krush House today. I want to remind you to go to VegasWinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world-famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple. It's easy. It takes 1 minute, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year, and you also get 5,000 rewards points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system. It's all at VegasWinners.com. What else can you find at Vegas Winners? Check out all our entertaining and informative Krush House podcasts. Enter to win fabulous prizes, including trips to Vegas to join me and the Krush House gang to watch a game, break some bread, and experience Sin City like few ever will. And most importantly, it's always about my favorite thing, winning and winning big. There's the point spread winners. We got that covered. We've got free winners every day, plus best bets from our team of 21 champions, the greatest lineup ever assembled. All you have to do is take 1 minute to register. Just go to VegasWinners.com right now. Follow the prompts to register, and you automatically get the picks, the wisdom, the analysis, and the winning point spread advice, plus rewards points for every click. It's all there. Thank you for dropping into another episode of Krush House, because winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. Until next time, just beat the point spread, baby.
All right, I'm going to hit this one off my lap into the lens. Oh, shit. Oh, the dog's getting it.